everybody. It is a Tuesday, and that means one thing. It's time now for True Crime Tuesday, and we're going to switch things up a little bit today. As you may hear from my voice, I got a little under the weather over the weekend. That's okay, though. I'm bright, I'm cheery, and you don't have Jessica today. That's okay, too, because I brought in a good friend for a co-host this week. Everybody say hello to Travis Thorpe. Hi, Trav. How you doing?
Well, hello, Timmy. Yes, I'm glad to be back again. Thank you for bringing me back. I really appreciate the opportunity to be in front of your audience again. I'm hoping this to be a great episode.
Oh, absolutely. So what we're doing here, Trav, it is the week of Michigan Paracon. So that, of course, means we get to be lazy. No. It doesn't mean we be lazy. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to do Rip from the Headlines and Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals this week. So we're going to do a little Rip from the Headlines first, and then we're going to do Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. Remind people where your show is again.
Okay, so ACTJ, and I thank the Darkness Radio Army for coming out in full mass after the last time. We can be found on X. Of course, after I said that last time, our X got suspended, but we're back.
No, that's not good.
Well, we might have forgot to pay the light bill on X, so our premium got suspended for a bit, and then we paid our fee, and now we're back because the tax man's happy. But you can find us on X. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on OpsLens. You can find us on Rumble. And what you're looking for is the American Council for Truth in Journalism.
Okay, there you go. So check out Travis and the gang over there on that show there. So there you go. And if you're saying, well, Tim, how come you're not repeating it back? Well, it's because I'm under the weather. So there you go. All right. So Rip from the Headlines. We'll have Travis repeat it a few more times so you can find and it's in the description of the show too. So you'll be able to find it with the links and all that way. It's going to be a rough one today, Trav. I'm not going to lie.
It's going to be great. Don't worry, Timmy. It's going to be awesome.
Great. Prop me up, brother. I'm in a rough way today. So here's the deal. It may not be too funny in the beginning, but it'll get funny at the end. I'll guarantee you that. Rip from the Headlines. Once again, I got to thank our good listeners who came through as far as Rip from the Headlines as well. This one came from Tony, and it comes from Florida. And the headline is, "It's really scary. Remains of a mother and child who vanished 50 years ago found in a Florida canal." Yeah. The decades-long, what's that?
50 years?
Yeah, 50 years. The decades-long mystery surrounding the disappearance of a Florida mother and her 3-year-old child is believed to have been solved after skeletal remains were unearthed in a canal on Sunday, according to police. Sunshine State Sonar, an organization that conducts searches for missing person cases in South Florida, said the remains belonged to 35-year-old Doris Wurst and her 3-year-old daughter, Karen. The two vanished from their home on 2nd Street in Plantation on November 12th of 1974. Yikes. That's a long time ago.
Very long time.
The mother's 1961 Chevrolet Impala was also nowhere to be found, according to the Plantation Police Department. According to police, the next of kin have been notified of the likelihood that the remains of their loved ones have been located. Police are still waiting for DNA and dental records. The mother and daughter's disappearance became a cold case in 1975, with follow-up investigations occurring in 1977, 1988, 1992, 1994, 2010, 2013, 2014, 2017, and 2018. However, results came back negative, and the two were never found.
Man,
interesting.
I'm guessing that this Impala somewhere shows up on the set of Supernatural somehow.
Probably, or in someone's junk heap, that's for sure. Then in June of 2023, the police department, Sunshine State Sonar, teamed up with the hopes of closing the case. On Sunday, the sonar team located a vehicle in a canal near the 10100 block of West Broward Boulevard. The dive search revealed the vehicle was a 60s model Chevy Impala. Skeletal remains consistent with an adult and small child were found inside the Impala, police said. Sunshine State sonar said toys, clothes, and shoes were also found inside the vehicle, which is entirely sad to find out. There was a hole in the roof of the vehicle, and as I got right on above the top of the vehicle, I shined my flashlight in that hole, and I saw what I didn't know was at the time it looked like a person, a little briefcase. Michael Sullivan of Sunshine State Solar told NBC affiliate WTVJ. I grabbed it, and when I got it up to the surface and saw what it was a Fisher Price kid's toy. Me and my brother just looked at each other, and it was pretty emotional that moment, because to us, it was Karen. It was Karen saying, "I'm here and you got me." While the cold case has been solved, residents who live near the canal are on edge following the discovery. Of course, I would think they would be. Piedad Caballero told WTVJ the Sunshine State sonar team knocked on her door on Saturday asking for permission to access the canal from her property. We've been here 20 years and we've been sleeping with dead bodies there for over 20 years, not knowing. Who knows how many more are in there, Caballero said. It's really scary. According to WTVJ, Sunshine State sonar said a man's remains and a car were found submerged in a nearby lake in the area of 80 Wimbledon Drive. They laid his bones out. They had his dentures, resident Cookie Sakenti said. It was really sad. You know, we've had this discussion on the show before about how in any lake in any given time, not necessarily a canal, but in any lake, in any body of water, there could be multiple sets of bones, Travis, that are in that lake at any given time.
It reminds me of the first time that I went to Boy Scout camp at Crystal Lake. And there was this counselor, and she disappeared. There's a guy named Jason that was on the grounds, and they just kept disappearing. It was bizarre. It was weird. It was strange. I think it was on a Friday the 13th.
Yeah, this sounds like a movie you might have seen. I don't know that this was a real scenario. I don't think this. This might be a movie you watched.
What?
Yeah, I don't think it was a real camp you went to.
Yeah, no, this is a pretty sad story. I do watch a lot of YouTube, and there's some great YouTube channels of guys that go out scuba diving looking for remains of people that have been lost. And it's quite emotional to watch when the surviving families are reunited with those, deceased. And even sometimes just the memorabilia that they're able to find and discover and pull up from the water. And, half the time law enforcement is pretty happy about it. And the other half of the time, they almost seem adversarial. I don't know if it's a jealousy factor because they weren't the ones that did it and it was an outside person that did it. I don't know if it's maybe involvement in some of those cases. It's kind of alludes to it. But Florida is got a lot of water out there, a lot of crime, a lot of crazy drugs, and dinosaurs walking around. I mean, you're gonna find bodies everywhere out there, I imagine.
Yeah, and a lot of unsolved stuff too. So when they do come across something, I mean, it's for them. There's got to be relief that they've solved the case, but in the same respect, I know people get freaked out that well, this has been in my canal for 20 years. Well, yeah, but fact of the matter is there's other, you can't be naive and think that hasn't, there isn't more out there.
It reminds me of any time I'd go to a client's house for doing some kind of home cleansing or whatever. They got some paranormal activity happening in their home, right? And one of the things they go is, "Oh, but it's a new house. How would it have a ghost in it?" And I always try to remind them, like, you realize like the dead out number of 5,000 to 1, right? Like they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Just because this is a new housing development doesn't mean that there wasn't other people that have been here before. Right.
Right.
It's no different. You probably got 5 skeletons under your driveway and you don't realize it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how naive we can be when we want to be naive, and you know how much in denial we can be when we want to be in denial. But yeah, the dead are everywhere, folks. I don't know how to tell you that, but they just are. Let's move on. This woman is going to qualify for the Mother of the Year or Darwin of the Year award, one or the other. An Arkansas mother pleads guilty in the death of a boy who drowned in a toilet and was found under the floorboards. Definitely Mother of the Year. A 30-year-old mother will spend 4 decades in prison after her boyfriend fatally drowned her 5-year-old son in a toilet as punishment and injured her 6-year-old daughter in 2022. Ashley Rowland pleaded guilty on August 8th to 2 counts of permitting abuse of a minor. Arkansas State Police said in a release. She subsequently received a sentence of 40 years in the Arkansas Department of Corrections. According to an affidavit in December of 2022, Lee County deputies responded to a home on Front Street where Ashley Rowland brought out her daughter. The child had apparent injuries on her head that had scabbed over. The mother claimed her son, Blue Rowland, was not at the residence. The daughter was transported to Forest City Hospital, where staff determined she had been severely burned. According to the affidavit, Ashley Rowland's mother told deputies that Blue Rowland was possibly deceased inside the defendant's home. Authorities entered the residence and found the boy under the floorboards, wrapped in multiple layers of plastic bags. Ashley Rowland reportedly told police her son died 3 months earlier on September 9th of 2022. The victim allegedly angered her boyfriend, Nathan Bridges, by biting his fingers when Bridges stuck it in his mouth. As punishment, Bridges reportedly drowned the child in the toilet. The defendant admitted she had entered the bathroom and saw her son struggling to breathe and that his body appeared limp. According to the affidavit, Ashley Rowland told investigators Bridges buried the victim under the floorboards after his death. The defendant allegedly said her daughter's injuries were also caused by Bridges when he held the girl's head and upper torso under hot water in the bathtub. Ashley Rowland's daughter reportedly struggles with behavioral issues, and Bridges would use hot water as punishment. According to state police, both Rowland and Bridges one second here. The story skipped.
The feelings of anger inside right now, hearing all this, I can't even articulate.
Yeah. According to state police, both Rowland and Bridges were initially charged with capital murder, abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and endangering the welfare of a minor. Bridges pleaded guilty in July to first-degree murder and first-degree battery, and was sentenced to 60 years in Arkansas Department of Corrections. What doesn't seem like enough time when you read the entire story.
It doesn't feel like enough time, and honestly, even most people that get a 20-year sentence don't even serve 20 years.
Yeah,
they'll do 20 and get out on 10 on good behavior from the inside. But fortunately, allegedly, hold on, let me put my lawyerly glasses on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Allegedly, inside of the prison system, people like that have what they call bad charges, allegedly get taken care of. So they get taken care of in a way that, they won't ever see those 60 years. The kind of things that we should be doing to people like this, these monsters that live amongst us. But our judicial system says, no, we don't do those kind of things. You can just sit in timeout for 60 years. Okay, lawyerly glasses are coming off.
Okay.
I have so many words I want to say that I know I cannot say on your show.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to let one or two fly, you could. One could hope that, he gets taken care of appropriately, even if the justice system can't do it. We move on. An Oregon man is sentenced for killing a woman in a stabbing spree while high on meth. Meth is a wonderful drug, isn't it?
Color me shocked.
Yeah. Things you do well on meth. I think should be a children's book. The things you do while on meth. So then that way it's a cautionary tale, right?
Please write that,
I
author
will.
that, copyright that.
I will. It's you people don't steal my idea. I'm gonna write it and put it out in elementary schools everywhere and watch it get banned. Um, but yeah, the things you do while on meth. I'll be releasing that here next fall. A man recently pleaded guilty to robbing a bank in 2019 and stabbing. We're going to Beaverton, Oregon, by the way, the home of the Nike. A man recently pleaded guilty to robbing a bank in 2019 and stabbing several people in a crime spree, including one fatally while high on methamphetamine. The Washington County District Attorney's Office announced that Salvador Antonio Martinez Romero pleaded guilty on August 7th to first-degree murder, 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder, and 4 counts of first-degree robbery. A judge sentenced Martinez Romero on August 13th to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years for murder and 9 years for the other convictions. On December 18th of 2019, while under the influence of methamphetamine, Martinez Romero reportedly bought a large chef's knife at a grocery store. Prosecutors said he then entered a bank nearby, pulled out the knife, and demanded tellers give him cash. The beginning of a crime, but a knife at a gunfight doesn't necessarily go over well, Travis.
No, it doesn't. But what they left out in that op-ed there, right, is that he was going over to the bank to go acquire more money so he could get the rest of the implements he needed for his kitchen. He was just trying to be smart.
Right. He still needed the frying pan and the other stuff. According to the district attorney's office, one victim, Janet Risch, was there to get cash for as Christmas gifts for her grandchildren. Oh, I want that, grandmother. Martinez Romero reportedly grabbed Risch's adult daughter, Deb Thompson, from behind when he didn't get the money quickly enough and reportedly cut her throat. Tellers reportedly gave Martinez Romero cash. Prosecutors then said he fatally stabbed Risch in the back. Risch's daughter and bank tellers attempted life-saving measures at that point, but Risch died from her injuries. Thompson survived the attack, but authorities said she was left permanently injured. As Martinez Romero fled the scene, he reportedly approached a third victim to steal his car. The victim tried to stop the theft, but Martinez Romero stabbed the man in the chest, causing critical injuries, according to the district attorney's office. The defendant drove the stolen car to a residential area in Tigard, Oregon, where he abandoned the vehicle. A fourth victim reportedly stopped her car by the vehicle, and Martinez Romero stabbed her in the leg and torso. Boy, meth gives you unlimited energy, doesn't it? Prosecutors said he then stole that car from her. Police pursued Martinez Romero, and he eventually left the car and fled on foot. Officials found him near a high school, took him into custody, and discovered large amounts of cash stuffed down his pants and hidden under a nearby pile of leaves. He suddenly became a squirrel after that, evidently. And that's how they took him into custody. So, Travis, again, the things we do while on meth.
You ever seen those videos of law enforcement, like even like the old like 90s, late 80s episode of Cops, where the guys would strip down into their skivvies, or they'd just be butt naked running down, flipping over cars, getting shot multiple times and still coming at them like the T-1000, right?
Yep.
When I was a police officer, we had only maybe seen this once in my city, but it's a pretty prevalent thing. It's an actual medical condition that happens when they're high on some of these extremely hard drugs. It's called excited delirium. And what it's happening is their heart starts enlarging and it starts kind of cracking. And so it's pumping at an extreme rate, but they're going to die as soon as they like come down from this, right?
Yes.
But while the body's going through this, every single fiber of their muscles activate. And they say that like normally the human body is only using like 30% of its muscle fiber, even if you're working out and trying as hard as you can. When you go through this excited delirium, every muscle fiber activates. And so that's why they're able to like lift cars. They're able to flip them. You can shoot them multiple times and they ain't going down. It's crazy.
Ooh,
So yeah, the things you do on meth, you become the Terminator. It's crazy.
yikes. Tell you what, we'll take our break right here. When we come back, famous people in the news, both famous people who are murdered and famous people doing the murdering. We'll talk about that when we come back and rip from the headlines. And we'll also talk about a North Carolina man who, as we transition into dumb crime, stupid criminals, who was accused of fatally hitting pedestrians with his truck after being kicked out of a strip club. When you got to get kicked out of a strip club, you might as well take some people with you. That's coming up next on Rip from the Headlines right here on True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Right over there is the co-host for today, Travis Thorpe. And continuing on with the theme today here, Rip from the Headlines, Travis, we're going to talk about some famous victims and famous criminals for the Rip from the Headlines segment. A story that's been in the news for the last few weeks has to do with well, I guess a famous soap actor, Johnny Wachter, who is part of General Hospital. I don't want to say he fell from grace, but he came off of General Hospital and had been working at a restaurant for quite some time, where he had been murdered after his shift. LA police reportedly arrested multiple suspects in the fatal shooting of Johnny Wachter this past week. Police have reportedly issued warrants and arrested several people in connection with the May killing of General Hospital actor Johnny Wachter. I just rhymed there, sorry.
Yeah, like
Was,
Dr. Seuss over here.
yeah. Who was shot in downtown Los Angeles as he walked to his car rather after work. According to KABC TV, which cites law enforcement sources, the arrests occurred Thursday, August 15th. The issuing of the warrants and likelihood of arrests also was confirmed by ABC News. The Los Angeles Times reports that Los Angeles Police Department investigators obtained a probable cause warrant to arrest Robert Barcelo, Sergio Estrada, and Leonel Gutierrez. The men are reportedly members of the Florencia 13 gang, which is linked to catalytic converter thefts in the area. The suspects' fingerprints were reportedly found on a floor jack they used while attempting to steal Wachter's catalytic converter.
Wow.
So really, he was just in the way.
Yeah. They were down there just using their skills, trying to make a couple $1,000s to pay their rent. You know, and he got in the way.
Yeah.
So sad.
Video taken by KTLA TV shows several police cars blocking a street that the suspects reportedly live on. Wachter was fatally shot on May 25th at 3:25 a.m. near Hope Street and Pico Boulevard after he left work at a local bar. The LAPD says Wachter was with a coworker when he got to his car and saw it had been raised up on a floor jack. Wachter's mother, Scarlett Wachter, told True Crime News host Anna Garcia that Wachter believed the men were towing his car. Wachter asked the men if they were moving his car, and one of the men was masked. He stepped back to protect his coworker, Anita Joy, but then the suspect shot him point blank in the heart. Wachter died in Joy's arms. The LAPD described the shooting as occurring without provocation. The suspects then fled in a dark sedan. Police shared photos of the suspect on August 4th. The car they drove off in was reportedly a stolen Infiniti Q50. So they had some taste, Travis, when they obviously used their getaway vehicle. Joy told True Crime News an extra in a statement, "We're all in knots, just hoping and praying that these are the right guys. Arrests are made and convictions take place." The arrests come just days after Scarlett Wachter and some of Wachter's close friends spoke at a press conference about the case. Wachter's acting credits include playing Brando Corbin in 164 episodes of General Hospital. Scarlett Wachter's full interview with Anna Garcia was part of True Crime News, which premieres September 9th. It's a tragic story, really, that, the guy's just trying to get home from work, and he's working a late night shift, and these guys are stealing a catalytic converter, and, it's a sad story indeed.
Yeah, I'm sitting there thinking and playing it out in my head, like, most men do, like running scenarios in their head of how they would deal with it, how they Monday morning, what's that, Monday morning quarterback or whatever, right?
Yes,
You
sir.
know, and the scenario that plays out in my head is like, man, we all got to get really good at just releasing the hydraulic arms on
Yeah. Yeah.
those floor jacks. You know,
Is it just a twist to the right? Isn't
yeah,
that
to the left. Yeah,
to the
righty
left?
tighty, lefty loosey, right?
That's
And
right.
so, if I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning hearing bang, 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 going, and I go, man, there's some guys with a floor jack underneath my truck. I'm probably just gonna go over there and turn that floor jack
Right.
and watch it pin them and be like, hey, stupid games, stupid prizes. You can wait for PD to show up now,
That's
right?
right.
Because living in the great state of Minnesota that we live in, if I went out there with my Second Amendment protected activity and tried to, hold them there, I'm gonna leave in jail and they're gonna leave with my truck. So yeah, maybe we all need to get good at releasing floor jacks.
That's right. That's right. That's the first part of self-defense, is learning how to use your car as a weapon. You bring up an excellent point. I mean, your car is a 2,000-pound weapon. So
Yes, it is.
yeah, best use it.
Allegedly.
Well, allegedly, yes, allegedly. They always tell you that whenever they say don't drink and drive. Your car is a 2,000-pound weapon, right?
This host views does not reflect the
I'm just saying. Another famous person that's been in the news lately has to do with the show Friends, Matthew Perry. Now, 5 people, including 2 doctors, were charged this last week in connection with his death. I don't know if you heard about how much ketamine was in Matthew Perry's system,
no.
but man, oh, Manischewitz, was there a lot. They said there was enough ketamine to anesthetize him. He was walking around with enough to anesthetize him.
Huh.
Think about that. I mean, enough to actually put him down for surgery. And he was walking around just able-bodied.
There was a lot of like fan theories going around all over the internet around his death, where they were analyzing like his last tweet or last like Instagram post or something. It had something to do with the bat signal. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, it went pretty viral for about a week. After it was like moments before his death. I mean, we're talking like minutes, right? He's tweeting like or Instagram posting, one of the two, a whole slew of posts that are like coded messages that are all the bat signal. And it's like, was his brain getting fried that he was like, I'm throwing up the bat signal for help, or maybe a coded message to friends like, I'm in danger, help, you know?
Maybe.
Yeah, and so it's good to see that they're making a arrest on this, because that alone was enough, I would say, for reasonable suspicion that there was some foul play going on.
Oh, yeah. The amount of ketamine that was ordered the last month of his life was obscene. I mean, we'll get into it here, and I'll tell you how much exactly. Federal prosecutors announced Thursday that 5 people have been arrested and charged in connection with Friends actor Matthew Perry's fatal ketamine overdose in October of 2023. 41-year-old Jasveen Sangha, also allegedly known as the Ketamine Queen, and Dr. Salvador Plasencia were indicted on 1 count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine. Prosecutors are also charging Sangha with maintaining a drug-involved premises, possession with intent to distribute methamphetamine, possession with intent to distribute ketamine, and 5 counts of distribution of ketamine. Plasencia has also been charged with 7 counts of distribution of ketamine and 2 counts of altering and falsifying documents or records. The 3 other defendants include Perry's live-in assistant, Kenneth, I believe this is Awamasa, Eric Fleming, and Dr. Mark Chavez. Fleming also pleaded guilty last week to one count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine and one count of distribution of ketamine resulting in death. He reportedly confessed to buying 50 vials of ketamine from Sanga and providing the drugs to the actor. Sanga reportedly gave Fleming 25 vials days before Perry died.
Wow.
Now, I was watching one other news program that they were sharing text back and forth that basically said, let's see how much ketamine this clown will buy.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And they were kind of laughing about how much they could distribute to him. Iowastinky pleaded guilty to one count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine causing death on August 7th. He reportedly admitted to repeatedly injecting Perry with ketamine without medical training, including performing multiple injections on Perry on October 28th, the day that Perry died. Additionally, Chavez agreed to plead guilty to one count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine. He sold the drug to Plasencia after obtaining it from a drug clinic he used to run. Chavez reportedly made false representations to wholesale ketamine distributor and submitted false prescriptions in a former patient's name without their consent. According to the statement, Plasencia learned Perry was interested in obtaining ketamine in September of 2023. Plasencia reached out to Chavez to buy the drugs to sell to the Friends actor. Plasencia allegedly texted Chavez, "I wonder how much this moron will pay."
That's insane.
That's
Could you imagine being treated like you're completely inept and nothing more than a cash cow?
Yeah.
For like evil human beings like this, right?
Yeah.
And these are people that have taken a Hippocratic oath. These are people that are licensed medical doctors, right? Like this is what scares me when we look at society and society says you need to trust these professionals.
Mhm.
You need to trust these people with the credentials. And yet they keep coming up in the news as these murderers and drug traffickers.
Yeah.
You know, society's going downhill, man.
Yeah.
We're just seeing more of it because of the internet.
For sure. For sure. Iowastinky and Fleming also started working with Sanga in October of 2023 to obtain the drugs. Plasencia continued to sell Iowastinky the drugs, even though he learned a week before the actor's death that Perry's ketamine addiction was spiraling out of control. On the day that he died, Perry received multiple ketamine injections. Once news of his death became public, Sanga texted Fleming, "Delete all our messages." I don't know what that's going to do because, as you know, through technology, you can't fully delete anything.
Nothing is ever deleted.
Yeah. In 2019, Sanga sold ketamine to Cody McLaury hours before he overdosed. One of the victim's family members texted her and said her drugs killed McLaury, but prosecutors said Sanga nonetheless continued to sell ketamine from her stash house. Agents searched Sanga's house and found evidence of drug trafficking, including over 3 pounds of meth pills, cocaine, and prescription drugs that appeared to be fraudulently obtained. Plasencia allegedly falsified records to make it seem like he had a treatment plan for Perry. Sanga could face a minimum of 10 years and a maximum of life in prison if convicted. Plasencia could face 70 years for the ketamine charges alone. Iowastinky will be sentenced for up to 15 years, and Fleming could face a maximum of 25 years, while Chavez could get up to 10 years. U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada said in a statement, these defendants cared more about profiting off of Mr. Perry than caring for his well-being. Drug dealers selling dangerous substances are gambling with other people's lives over greed. This case, along with many other prosecutions of drug dealers who caused deaths, send a clear message that we will hold drug dealers accountable for the deaths they cause.
There's two lessons there, Tim. The first one being never get famous.
Yeah.
The second being drugs are bad. Okay.
Okay.
Drugs, okay.
Drugs are
Drugs
bad.
bad.
Okay.
Drugs bad. Okay.
Yeah, this was just incredibly sad, and it was a case too where Matthew Perry had kind of fallen off the wagon. I mean, he was an addict who had gotten clean, and he had actually used ketamine in his treatment and spiraled out of control using ketamine, which was sad. I mean, using one substance to treat another substance was not the way to go. And
you see that a lot in the methadone clinics. So like when people are coming down from using a lot of barbiturates, they'll go to these methadone clinics and they'll get Special K. And a lot of our ambulances, paramedics, firefighters, they would have a load of Special K in their vehicles in case if, the blue canaries, i.e. law enforcement, had somebody that was very, very, very squirrely and was probably going to fight the paramedics on the way to the hospital. And they would give them a little Special K injection, which is ketamine, right? And it would make them all docile and, dopey and more pliable and easy to deal with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why in a lot of these detox facilities that they use this narcotic as well, because it calms them down. It helps them kind of come off of their really, really hard crash that they're going to go through.
Mm-hmm.
But it's super addictive as well.
Yeah.
And I've known a handful of people that still to this day get prescribed ketamine because they went through those treatments and they can't let it go. So drugs are bad.
There are some people that ketamine really works for. There's some mentally ill people that really have used ketamine and it's worked very, very well for them. But it's not for everybody. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not the cure all for everybody. That's for sure. Our next story has to do with a former NFL player sentenced for abusing and killing his girlfriend's daughter. We go to Las Vegas, where a former professional football player was sentenced this week for abusing and killing his girlfriend's 5-year-old daughter in 2019. The Las Vegas Review-Journal reports Sierra Wood has entered an Alford plea, which means he's maintained his innocence but acknowledged there was enough evidence to convict him on Tuesday, August 13th, on charges of second-degree murder and child abuse, neglect, or endangerment. The Clark County judge sentenced Wood to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 10 years for the murder charge. He was also sentenced to 28 to 72 months behind bars for abuse and is required to cover the cost of the funeral. The 2 terms will run consecutively. Court records show Wood was initially indicted on 21 charges, including 19 counts of child abuse for the death of Larea Davis. Davis's mother, Amy Taylor, pleaded guilty to the same charges and was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 10 years and a minimum of 8 to 20 years for abuse. According to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Davis died April 9th of 2019. Wood reportedly noticed she was unresponsive, so he called 911 and performed CPR on her. She had at least 100 bruises on different parts of her body, as well as 20 broken ribs, a lacerated liver, and other injuries. Clark County prosecutors reportedly argued Davis's injuries indicated a pattern of physical abuse, of being hit, of being punched, of being forced to endure things that just are beyond words. Wood reportedly forced the girl to exercise, including doing sit-ups and running laps, because he wanted to make sure she was on the right path due to her being chunky. I don't get that.
Yeah. Now there's a mindset that they see in a lot of professional athletes, which is this pursuance of excellism or excellence, and you have to be the best of the best of the best. And when they're receiving millions of dollars for their paycheck for being the excellent ones, I can see in their twisted mind why they would come up with some kind of thought process of like, you're going to do at 5 what I'm doing at 30 to be successful in life. And they're taking out their own anger and hatred for themselves or their own insecurities out on that kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's a child.
Yeah.
It's a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I'm chunky too, so maybe I'm just upset because I'm chunky and I don't want to exercise anymore. When I when the army stopped paying me, I stopped running. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like Twinkies. All right.
Yeah. No, Army ain't paying me either, and I'm not running either, brother. I'll say that. Taylor reportedly told investigators that she came home from work one day and found her daughter mutilated after leaving her with Wood. The Las Vegas Review-Journal reports Taylor sat on and spanked her daughter as punishment. Boy, these are parents of the year, aren't they? Wood played college football at Notre Dame as a running back and spent time with the Buffalo Bills and Houston Texans in his NFL career. The Associated Press reports that he also played for the Montreal Alouettes in the Canadian Football League. Now he's playing for the jail league, evidently. And, won't be playing for long. That's my guess.
All right, the lawyer glasses are coming back on.
Okay, lawyer glasses. Here we go.
Allegedly, this guy should get his balls played with while he's in prison. Allegedly, they should play a little soccer with his ball. Allegedly, he should get some of that same corporal punishment inside of that little box that he's going to be in for the rest of his freaking life. Allegedly, those gangs are basically going to threaten him until he's penniless. They are going to make sure that his commissary is footing the bill for the entire block. Allegedly. All right, glasses coming off.
Glasses coming. There you go. Lawyer glasses. I see how that works. All right, our next story. A wife and her cousin accused of killing an Army National Guard soldier found shot and zip-tied in 2019. I know you're going to love this story. I don't even know if I dare read it.
Go for it.
All right. Authorities recently arrested a woman and her cousin on suspicion of fatally shooting the woman's husband, who's a soldier. According to the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office, we're going to Lenoir City, Tennessee. On October 1st of 2019, deputies responded to a home on Shaw Ferry Road where they found the 35-year-old Jacob Bishop deceased. Officials suspected foul play and determined Bishop was the victim of a homicide. Deputies said they found Bishop, a Tennessee Army National Guard soldier, with multiple gunshot wounds, and he was bound by zip ties. Bishop's death investigation remained unsolved for years until recently, when the sheriff announced they arrested Bishop's wife, 39-year-old Amanda Bishop, and her cousin, 39-year-old Eric Bird, on August 13th. Deputies said they were able to identify the suspects through advancements in technology and new evidence. According to the sheriff's office, before the victim's death, Amanda Bishop and her husband were going through a heated custody battle that sparked animosity between the two. I got to stop right here. So it took you these many years to figure out that the two of them were arguing over custody? Why did it take so long?
Well, I mean, okay, first, what was the state again?
Tennessee.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I mean, for those audience members in Tennessee, I'm sure all of you are the exception. I'm just saying, right? Now, secondly, right, they might not have been looking at that because I don't know. There's no freaking excuse, Tim. They should have known. They should have known.
It just seems kind of like lazy police work. I don't know. Bishop and Bird were booked into the Loudoun County Detention Center on charges of first-degree murder with the bond set of $1 million each. Loudoun County Sheriff Jimmy Davis said today's arrests mark a crucial step towards justice for Jacob Bishop and his family. This case has remained a top priority for our office. Well, evidently not if it took years for you to make the arrests.
I wonder if there was a change of command. I wonder if there was a previous sheriff that didn't look at things for quite a while. And, maybe this new sheriff, won an election and maybe he was some deputy that was trying to work this case for years. And now that he's got the reins, he was able to close in on it.
I think you're probably right about that.
Yeah. Hitting it on the nose, I think.
Yeah. We're going to Canton, Michigan. Yeah. We're going to Canton, Michigan for our next story. It has to do with a man allegedly fatally shooting his neighbor after the victim's daughter touched mulch in his yard.
Get off my lawn.
Right? It's one of those stories. A 47-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of shooting and killing his neighbor after the victim's daughter allegedly touched mulch on the suspect's lawn. Boy, people are touchy these days, aren't they? According to Canton Police Department, on August 10th at approximately 11:48 a.m., officers responded to the 200 block of Cornell Street regarding shots fired following a brief confrontation by the suspect toward the victim. Officers found the victim in the street with a gunshot wound and moved him to safety for immediate medical assistance. Paramedics transported him to a nearby hospital where he died from the injuries. Canton police said the suspect, Devereaux Christopher Johnson, barricaded himself inside the house. Johnson eventually surrendered to police and was arrested on charges of premeditated first-degree murder, possession of a firearm by a felon, and 2 counts of felony firearm. The Michigan Republican Party identified the victim as Nathan Morris and released a statement regarding his killing. Morris reportedly worked as an engineer for Ford Motors, ran for the local school board, and stayed involved in local Republican politics. The statement says Morris and his family were taking a walk on Saturday when his daughter touched the mulch of one of the neighbors. Johnson allegedly retrieved a gun and threatened Morris and his family. Morris reportedly urged his family to go home and said that he would try and defuse the situation. The Michigan GOP described Morris as one of those few guys who are near perfect. He would do no harm and think no harm. WJBK TV reports Johnson has had past run-ins with the police and trouble with his neighbors. Prosecutors reportedly motioned for a competency hearing. Canton police said Johnson is being held without bond. Now, if convicted, Johnson could face up to life in prison without parole.
Now, I'm not a fan of people like just messing with my yard all the time, right? But I'm on a popular walking path, and there is at least 30 to 50 dogs doing their business on my front lawn all the time. And I don't really care. Yeah. I don't really care. Come, little girl, come over and play with the mulch in my driveway. Promise you, it'll be okay. That man is crazy. He's crazy. Now, however, I don't think he should be allotted this competency test. He's just crazy. Just punish him. I don't get it, Tim. Like what mulch is worth that?
Mulch is what, a couple bucks a bag?
Yeah, and like what? Like Find was it made out of gold? like was there a copper mine underneath all that mulch? You know, was he hiding all that ketamine under there that they were selling to Matthew Perry? I mean, like, what is going on with this mulch that makes it worth shooting somebody over?
It's not that big of a deal. It's what, $8-9 tops a bag. If you're buying the good stuff, you know, if you're buying it on sale, you can get it for $2-3 a bag. It's not that big of a deal. You know, you replace it once a season. You know, if you're really on top of it, I don't know why you would admonish a little girl for. Hell, the chipmunks kick it up all the time out in the front yard. They don't. I mean, we don't admonish the chipmunks for kicking up the mulch. Why would you admonish a little girl for kicking up mulch?
I mean, it's neighbors like that. It's people like that make me want to move further and further and further away from the city and put about 10 miles between me and every single other human being, you know?
Yeah.
People are crazy, Tim.
Yeah. They have some issues. Finally, today in Ripped from the Headlines, a North Carolina man accused of fatally hitting pedestrians with his truck after being kicked out of a strip club. This is pent-up blue balls at its best.
Well, I mean, we talked earlier about, you know, how vehicles are a great weapon.
Yeah, they are. Well, talk about an extension of your rod, if you know what I mean. We're going, of course, to Tampa, Florida. This is, of course, Florida man at his finest. A 25-year-old man faces multiple charges after allegedly running over multiple people, including one fatally after being removed from a strip club due to inappropriate behavior. On August 13th at around 4:19 a.m., Tampa police officers responded to a parking lot of Emperor's Gentlemen's Club. Boy, that just sounds regal, doesn't it?
It does. You know, that's where at least the B-level strippers are.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Those are the ones that still have both their legs.
Yeah. So, the second string.
No eye patches there. You're getting quality entertainment. Emperor's Gentleman's Club, where a truck had crashed. Witnesses told police the driver, Dylan Fogel, had been kicked out of the club, and then he allegedly came back to drive the truck into a group of people standing at the entrance. Several people were near in the area at the time. Police said there were 3 victims, including Giovanni Soto, who was pronounced dead at the scene. The 2 other victims were transported to a local hospital to critical injuries, but have been released. Officials also transported Fogel to a hospital for injuries. According to police, Fogel's blood alcohol content was above the legal limit, and they believe alcohol contributed to the incident. You say.
Weird. That's the follow-up book to The Things That Meth Makes You Do.
That's right. The adventures that meth takes you on. This one is called The Things That Alcohol Makes You Do. Fogel faces charges of first-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder, vehicular homicide, 2 counts of DUI with serious bodily injury, and 1 count of DUI manslaughter. He remains held in the Hillsborough County Jail without bond. Records show Fogel is from North Carolina, so he's not a true Florida man. He's Florida man-ish.
Yeah, he caught the virus while he was there. That's what it was.
That's what it was. So there you go. With that, it's time now for us to lighten things up. It's time now for Dumb Crimes.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
And Travis, we open up Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals today with a convicted Fresno murderer who says that life isn't fair.
Well, you know, as my father would always say, you're right, Travis. Life isn't fair. Fair is something you take your kids to in the summertime.
It's true. Well, not only is life not fair, but it's not fair because the jurors were female. Let me explain. And this is the funny part. He says, my jury trial was not fair. This is according to Hamanpreet Singh. He told this to the judge. A lot of women, obviously, they saw my video crime. We go to Fresno County, California, where a heated back and forth unfolded at the Fresno County Courthouse Thursday as a convicted murderer raised his hand to address the judge and spouted falsehoods about his trial. Because you all work together, you're supporting each other. You're not giving me my rights because I don't have a private attorney, Harmanpreet Singh said. The man was in court to learn his sentence for a 2022 Clovis shooting. Surveillance camera captured the crime as investigators say Singh shot and killed his ex-girlfriend, Gurpreet Marahar. Oh, so he thinks because he committed domestic violence and the jurors were women that he's
got an unfair advantage. Yeah.
Prosecutors say it was a case of domestic violence and a county jury convicted Singh of murder and assault after 8 days of trial in June. But Singh called it rigged because there were women on the jury. Well, women are going to be sympathetic because they don't like to get shot, Travis.
Right. Well, but how many of them identified as men? I mean, did they ask?
That's true. Yeah. I mean,
Did he just assume their genders?
He did assume their genders. My jury trial was not fair, he said. A lot of women, obviously, they saw my video crime. They don't know my situation, he said. Singh went on for several minutes. Instead of apologizing or asking for a lighter sentence, he criticized his female public defender. God.
This is great.
Genius. The comments seemed to strike a nerve with the judge. Unless you have something you want to tell me about this case, maybe even the possibility of some remorse, other than that, you can have a seat, sir, Judge Alvin Harrell III said. Your Honor, the jury is not random people, Singh said. They don't know about the laws. Sir, at this point, I'm going to have to sit you down, the judge said. The tense exchange happened just feet away from the victim's family. Ooh, yeah, that's a little rough. In a letter to the court read by the prosecutor, they expressed the pain they still feel and asked the court for the maximum sentence. My sister's unbearable loss has traumatized all of us for the rest of our lives, Fresno County Chief Deputy District Attorney Deborah Miller read on behalf of the family. Her death was not due to a natural cause, but because she was murdered. That makes it even harder to accept. The judge ultimately sentenced Singh to 50 years to life in prison, which he ultimately deserved, and apologized to the victim's family for their loss.
Wild. Yeah, could you imagine? I mean, like he sounds like somebody that sits there and oh man, I don't know if I could say this on here. Does things to himself while listening to like Jordan Peterson or something, right? And then like his entire jury pool is female. The DA is female. I'm sure the bailiff was female. And he's sitting there like, this isn't fair. That's karma.
Yeah,
that is karma.
Yeah, you'd think he would have known, right? You think at that point he would have just thrown up his hands and went, "You got me."
Yeah, like, all right, I'm beat. Them's the breaks.
Yep. Our next story has to do with a Philadelphia man who pleads guilty to killing his neighbor in a dispute over snoring. Again, I have to thank our listeners. Our lovely listeners have come up with so many stories this week, and I want to thank them. It's hard to thank them individually, but there's listeners like Tony and Jeff and a lot of different listeners who have come through this week. I want
Tony, who hurt you?
No, he's a great listener. He sends a lot of good stories. A Philadelphia man pleads guilty to killing his neighbor in a dispute over snoring. The man's attorney said his client had his life threatened multiple times. A Philadelphia man has pleaded guilty to stabbing and killing his neighbor after the neighbor had threatened him over his loud snoring. 56-year-old Christopher Casey of Upper Moreland was sentenced in Montgomery County Court on August 7th to 11 and a half to 23 months in county jail, followed by 3 years probation, after pleading guilty to the manslaughter charge in possession of an instrument of crime. That, according to court documents, Casey was originally charged with third-degree murder in the January 14th death of 62-year-old Robert Wallace, who lived next door in a duplex and with whom he shared a common wall. Prosecutors said that Casey stabbed Wallace after the other man pushed in his first-floor window and threatened to kill Casey over his snoring. Relatives of the victim said he had been unable to sleep due to the noise, and his fatigue had affected his life and ability to work.
Wild.
Yeah.
Get a white noise machine, move your bed away from the wall, move.
Yeah.
None of these adult things came through this guy's brain.
I guess.
Wow.
Not. Casey apologized to Wallace's family in court, calling the killing unfortunate.
I mean, yeah.
Casey's attorney said his client's life had been threatened multiple times. He was terrified of the guy and he believed that he had no option. Defense attorney James Lyons said he called his client a really good man who was not equipped to deal with this type of sustained abuse and threats. Casey will be freed after 8.5 months in jail and has only 1 month left behind bars, per reporting from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Wow. I wonder if his cellmate snores at all.
Ooh, that could be time extended, couldn't it? Make a shiv out of a toothbrush, and by God, you're in for a little extended stay, aren't you?
Make it any more.
You know, I had the same problem at my duplex. That would.
What are you in for? I hate snoring.
I better get my CPAP.
What was his prison name? Breathe Right?
Yeah, breathe right. Dear God. This next story was sent to us by a listener. 1 ton of meth was hidden in a truckload of celery seized from a farmer's market. You a big fan of farmers markets?
No, there's too many people there.
Too many people at the farmer's market? See, I like a good farmer's market in the summertime.
Like I love individuals, right? I like people, and I think in a wide society, there's a lot of amazing people, great stories. I'm sure every single listener of your show is an amazing person. However, when people are in mass, I can't stand it. It just drives me up the wall. So I if I get drugged to something like that, I'm just on high alert the whole time, scanning everything. I can never calm down enough to be in a place like that.
Yeah.
I just hate it.
The one farmer's market I used to love when I worked downtown was the Minneapolis Farmers Market.
Is that the one under the bridge?
No. This was right downtown, right? Was it on Nicollet? It used to,
yeah, right off of six and Nicollet, outside of the city center out there.
Yeah.
I used to work security down there.
Did you?
Yeah, I had to deal with that every week.
Yeah, every week. Yeah. But they had so much good stuff out there. I mean, the produce was excellent. Yeah.
Well, see, I thought the story was going to the farmer's market that was underneath the freeway with all the tents and everything because of the meth.
Oh, no. Well, we're coming full circle now with meth.
The meth and the celery,
Meth and the celery, yeah.
Yeah, the farmer's market off of 6th and Nicollet, that went, I think it started on 6th and it extended all the way to about 8th.
Yeah.
8th or 9th Street.
8th or 9th. Yeah. It was big.
Yeah. I had to patrol that every week.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah.
I would go up there and I'd get some fresh produce, and then my girlfriend at the time, I'd get her some flowers every week because we worked together. We worked together over at Minnesota News Network.
And you never bought me flowers once, Tim.
We didn't know each other at the time. Otherwise, I would have probably bought you a nice bouquet of flowers. We could get a bouquet of flowers for $5. I probably would have got you one and her one. So, just saying.
And cheese curds. I would have taken cheese curds.
You know what? They had the best roasted nuts there. You remember the cinnamon roasted nuts they had there? The one vendor there?
Yep. And they had a giant popcorn wagon out there too.
Yes.
By an Egyptian guy named Sammy. And he and I became
Sammy. Yeah. I remember Sammy. Yeah. See?
Good times.
Good times. Great oldies. Cool 108. All right. 1 ton of meth. People don't know what that we're talking about. 1 ton of meth hidden in a truckload of celery was seized from a farmer's market, according to the DEA. We go to Atlanta, of course, the home of great meth. I don't know what that means. Piles upon piles of methamphetamine were trafficked across the Mexican border and were seized in metro Atlanta, according to officials with the DEA. It's the largest amount of meth ever seized by the DEA's Atlanta division, according to Robert Murphy, special agent in charge of the division. He told that at a press conference announcing the seizure on Monday afternoon. Murphy said it's also the largest seizure of meth the DEA has made this year nationwide, which is important to note because we're not on a border. That's what of course, Atlanta's not on any border.
It makes me wonder, because they're not always really good at packaging these things.
Yeah.
How much of those narcotics bleed over into the produce that we then consume?
Right.
I hope every single one of you are now worried and paranoid about all of your fruits and veggies. Eat meat.
Well, do you guys really wash your fruits and veggies really well?
Yeah. Right?
I do. I know I do.
Yeah. I never eat them. So
you never eat a fruit or a vegetable?
No.
Oh, I do.
That's rabbit food.
That's what food eats.
Yeah.
No, ever since I got heart healthy, I've been eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. So yeah. Boy, I got a lot of meth running through me, don't I?
You probably do.
Yeah. Especially certain types of year, because that's all that comes from Mexico is fruit and vegetables. So you notice, depending on the time of year, it'll come from Canada or it'll come from Mexico. And during the winter months, it's almost all Mexican produce.
Yeah. So, how much celery is just laced with cocaine too? And you're just this is really good celery.
I can't stop eating it.
I don't need peanut butter and nothing with it. I feel so much better. My doctor was right.
It's just giving me energy. Celery is life. Right. Murphy also said that it's the third largest seizure of meth the DEA has made this year nationwide, as I said before, which is important to note because they're not on a border. Most of these kinds of seizures that we have today, he said, occur on the border. Murphy said the bags of meth displayed at the press conference, over 1 ton, are worth more than $3 million in wholesale value. Think about that. A ton of meth is only worth $3 million.
That doesn't seem worth it.
No, it doesn't, does it?
Like an entire metric ton, like a ton of meth
Is only $3
3 mil.
Yeah.
Like that. In all that risk of getting it across. Well, maybe there's no more risk at the border. Maybe that's why it's so cheap.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They said that that ton was seized by DEA agents and their local law enforcement partners at the Atlanta State Farmers Market located in Forest Park in Clayton County on Thursday. Murphy declined to specify the street value of the drugs. So there's a street value and then the assumed value, I guess. So that's just the assumed value. The street value would be a little higher.
Yeah.
But still,
Allegedly.
Oh, wait, you don't have the lawyer glasses on.
Wait.
Uh,
Allegedly.
So what? You double or triple it?
I mean,
9 million. Even if it's 9 million, that's not a lot of money.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go back on like my cop experience for this. I'm going to go on my experience of binge watching Narcos on Netflix, right? And basically, anytime those narcotics cross a border, right, you add percentage to it, right?
Yep.
So like you could have a kilo of cocaine in Colombia and it's like $10. And by the time it's gone up to freaking New York, it's like $100,000, right? Like every time it passes a border, it goes up in price.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It does amaze me that local PD along with DEA catches it in Atlanta. How did it make it all the way there? How did it not get caught at the border?
Yeah.
It was HSI just sleeping at the gate. Like it's a ton of meth.
I gotta think somebody's paid off there. Somebody's paid off there.
Or maybe the feds wanted to track where it was going. That's about the only other thing that makes sense to me. Yeah.
There is one line in this story which is interesting. Georgia Agriculture Commissioner Tyler Harper said at the press conference that the celery was destroyed after the bust because it could have been contaminated by the meth. He says, you may be asking, why is the Department of Agriculture involved in this? Harper said, I think it's important to talk about that. Crime is like water, and just like water, always looks for the easiest path to go to and find its way through. He said, in this case, the easy path for drug cartels was Georgia's agriculture industry. He said his department's law enforcement division will continue to work with federal, state, and local partners to prevent drug traffickers from exploiting the state's farmers. So he's saying that they exploited agriculture specifically and went that route rather than choosing the shipping route of food and agriculture rather than any other trade.
See, that raises another hypothetical in my head here. So as we know, in the last decade, and this is more of like a geopolitical thing, a lot of America's farmland is not owned by American mom and pops anymore. Right.
Yeah.
Of course, you have a lot of large corporations that own a lot of farmland. Okay. But you also have Bill Gates that owns a massive amount of American farmland. And surprisingly, a foreign adversary, the CCP. And the CCP owns, what was it? I think it was like 60 or 70% of America's agriculture right now in the inside of the US. And yet they've also been tied by our federal agencies, identifying that they are the biggest proponent of bringing fentanyl across the border. Makes me wonder if those farmers, right, or farmland that was trafficking narcotics has any tie to CCP land.
I don't know. It's a good question. It's a good question. I don't know.
Yes, most indubitably, I do say. Yes.
Let's move on for time's sake. A man is accused of stealing Yellowstone National Park's vehicle while intoxicated. You gotta love a good drunken stealing.
Yabba dabba doo. Wait, no, that's Flintstones.
That's Flintstones, but don't they use the Flintstones in their marketing?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I think so.
Hanna-Barbera, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know.
A Virginia man is facing federal charges after allegedly stealing a Yellowstone National Park truck near Old Faithful while intoxicated on Saturday, August 10th, 2024, according to documents filed in U.S. District Court, District of Wyoming. Alan Bowling of Virginia attempted to buy beer at the Old Faithful Upper General Store around 4:40 p.m. on Saturday. Court documents say Bowling's credit card was declined, prompting him to leave the general store and get into a Yellowstone Park service station heavy wrecker. The heavy wrecker was reported as being seen near the Old Faithful Lodge before going the wrong way on a one-way road, driving off the roadway and then coming to a rest near the post office and ranger station. Bowling was pursued by foot by rangers, eventually stopped and detained by gunpoint, or at gunpoint, not by gunpoint, but at gunpoint. According to court documents, when asked to identify himself, Bowling said, "Nathan Patterson, undisclosed United States Marshal." He allegedly told rangers.
Oh, okay. So, okay. The allegedly glasses came out.
Yep. Here we go.
And he declared himself to be a U.S. Marshal.
Yeah.
Now, was he actually a marshal or was he just talking shit?
He's talking shit.
All right.
He said, "I needed the truck to get to the United States Marshal's headquarters." This is what he tells. Yeah, this is what he tells the authorities. Court documents say Bowling smelled strongly of alcohol and was taken to the Mammoth jail after being identified by witnesses. He reportedly refused to participate in sobriety testing, would not provide a breath sample, and refused to comply with a blood warrant. A follow-up investigation found that the heavy wrecker came to a stop 183 feet from the roadway, driving through and damaging a large wooden fence that is property of the federal government.
Listen, Ossifer, listen, I'm a U.S. Marshal. I swear to drunk officer, I'm not God.
I swear to drunk, I'm not God. Bowling faces 9 charges, including DUI, destruction of federal property, and disorderly conduct. He's in a heap of trouble.
Not impersonating a federal agent? Ugh.
I guess not. They're letting him off the hook for that one. He didn't produce a badge, so.
Yeah, I mean, he played the card. I would just stack that deck heavy as crap, and then, he can plead out to lesser those charges, I don't know. Maybe that's mean.
Yeah. You're going to love this next story, Trav.
Oh, good.
You ready for this one? We're coming home for this one, buddy. Right here to Minnesota.
Oh, tell me, Daddy.
You ready for this one? A woman tries to run over her boyfriend with her car en route to couples therapy session. This is good old-fashioned Minnesota passive-aggressive.
Oh.
You ready for this?
Jeez.
Should I do the accent?
Yeah. Oh, you betcha.
Veronica Rolene Gast was arrested for criminal vehicular operation, among other charges,
Oh.
Yeah, you betcha. She even looks Minnesotan. Look at this woman. This is...
Oh, I bet she makes some mean Alaska. Oh, yeah. Man, she'll put that lutefisk on it.
She's got the best green bean casserole on all the block,
Oh, man, that tater tot hot dish, though.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'd eat a tater tot hot dish off of her kitchen counter.
Whoa. I bet
kitchen counter.
Yeah,
allegedly.
Off her granite marble counter,
I'd plow that driveway,
Yeah, Want to see her mugshot?
Oh my God, yeah, let's see this hot mess.
Yeah, there she is,
Oh yeah, I'd plow that driveway.
I saw that driveway, you know.
I go fishing for some muskie.
I'd throw one in her honey hole. Come on now. A 30-year-old Minnesota woman is in custody after an incident on the way to a couples therapy. Evidently, there's issues in the relationship.
Well, you know, as they always say, that XY ratio, the hotter they are, the crazier they are.
I was watching, you ever watch the show Mom?
No.
Okay, the reruns are on Nickelodeon and TV. I think it's TV Land. And it's basically the idea is the mother and the daughter are in therapy and they're ex-strippers. I mean, it's wonderful. They're part of AA and all their friends are in AA. They're sober, but they're, you know, it's a wonderful show.
Sounds like a train wreck. I love it.
It is. It's a train wreck show, essentially. Everybody's life is a train wreck, but they're sober. But there's a line from the show, and it's crazy in the head, crazy in the bed is what the daughter says, right? Because she's trying to convince the mom's husband, her new stepdad. She's like, you know, you're never going to leave her. You know what they say, crazy in the head, crazy in the bed.
Wild.
And I'm like, wow, that's a line.
So did she hit him?
Who?
The chick. Sorry, the Minnesota chick.
Well,
we end up hitting him.
Story.
Yeah.
Okay, the story. Here we go. A 30-year-old Minnesota woman is in custody after an incident on the way to couples therapy. Veronica Rolene Gast was arrested for second-degree assault, criminal vehicular operation, bodily harm, gross negligence, and domestic assault, according to an affidavit obtained by Crime Online. Yeah, I betcha. Gast was driving to a couples therapy appointment with her boyfriend when the incident occurred on Wednesday. Before the incident, Gast and her boyfriend had been a couple for about a year. Oh, that's cute. And then they decide they want to go to therapy. According to Crime Online, while driving on the way to the therapist, Gast's boyfriend announced he was breaking up their relationship and requested to be taken home. He's had enough. That's the wrong time to bring it up, buddy. Gast then allegedly suddenly stopped her car and demanded her boyfriend exit the vehicle. Ooh, she had enough. According to the affidavit obtained by Crime Online, the victim, her boyfriend, passed in front of the car to get to a nearby sidewalk, walking back at the car.
Jeez.
Wrong move. When her boyfriend passed in front of the vehicle, Gast allegedly made eye contact before hitting the gas pedal in an attempt to run him over. Yikes.
This is wild.
It is, isn't it? He then smashed into the windshield after rolling across the hood of the vehicle. He shattered the windshield, lacerating his right elbow in the process.
And when that happened, he went, oh.
He went, oh my gosh, my elbow, you know. The defendant admitted that she was pulling away as she hit the victim with her vehicle. The defendant said she slowed down and stopped to call the police. Oh, so sorry I hit you so hard. Let me get a hold of 911. Let me call a cop for you.
Oh, quit whining. It'll get better.
Throw a little Bactine on it. You'll be okay.
Jeez. You know, the first red flag that this woman is just crazy, right? Veronica, I'm specifically talking to you right now. Crazy Pants McGee. All right.
Crazy Pants McGee.
All right. I got my lawyerly glasses on too. All right, Veronica.
Right. Yep.
All right. If you can hear me, sweetheart.
Yep.
Listen. You don't need couples therapy when you're boyfriend and girlfriend. You're not like a real couple. You've been dating for a year. If it ain't working, it ain't working. And when he says, I want to leave you, it's okay. He can leave. Don't run him over with your vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay. Just run over his heart.
Just let it go.
Just go be a thought on the internet, like every other woman that's upset when they get into a relationship struggle. You don't have to run people over with your vehicle. Now you have to play princess in the county jail. And that's no place for you, Veronica. Sweetheart, baby, listen. Next time, just let him get out of the damn car.
I believe there's a girl on the internet who gave good advice.
Look.
You should hock to it and spit on that thing. No, I'm kidding. Although, pretty good advice.
Oh man. I don't understand why people in like their first year of a relationship think that is something that's salvageable, that you need a counselor.
No,
You're not married.
if it's if it's 1 year in and it ain't clicking,
yeah, then it ain't real.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Just
like my 4-year-old daughter, she's always let it go. Just ounce of that. Just ounce of that. Let the hair down and let it go.
Yeah.
You betcha.
The defendant said she was in shock at hitting the victim. I don't know why. She's the one who accelerated. So she did not stop right away, but let off the gas, according to the report. While in custody, Gast claimed her cracked windshield was caused by her boyfriend punching the glass, not his body weight. It is unknown if she also sustained any injuries. The Otter Tail County Sheriff's Office did not immediately respond to Fox News Digital's request for comment, although he could probably be heard giggling for miles.
Oh, that's wild, Tim.
Yeah.
If you and I ever needed a counselor, Tim, it would be acceptable.
Yeah.
We've known each other for like a decade plus now. Right?
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, Tim, you didn't get me flowers. So now I'm upset. And in the theme of everything, I'm going to go do some salary and get behind the wheel.
And I'd probably say, well, Travis, I need to make amends and go get flowers. See, and that would be on me. And then I would probably go to Sammy and go get some of those cinnamon nuts for you.
Yeah. Well, I've just noticed that there has been a theme with every single story of the night so far. And what is it? Meth and vehicles.
Yeah, there has been, hasn't it? Well, I can switch it up with this next one, I think.
All right. I'm excited.
I think so. Yeah. A 73-year-old widow is bilked out of $113,000 by phone fraudsters. There's been a lot of the phone fraudsters stuff lately.
Yeah, we talked about that last time. Yeah.
Yeah. This duo is busted in the latest scheme on preying on the elderly. An elderly Florida woman was swindled out of $113,000 after she fell victim to a telephone fraudster who posed as a federal agent and claimed that her bank accounts were being attacked. In a scam that has become commonplace, a 73-year-old woman told police she received a call last month at her Clearwater home from a male with an Indian accent. That should be your first indicator.
Are you saying the FBI doesn't hire anybody from India?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, you probably should be a little leery. So the male with the Indian accent who claimed to be an agent with the U.S. Department of the Treasury. Now, why would the U.S. Department of the Treasury be calling you at home?
Yeah, they wouldn't. They would just show up because that's the Secret Service.
Yeah. The caller, she said, warned that her bank accounts were under assault by someone who was trying to take her money. To protect her funds, the agent advised she had to put her money in an escrow account, a transfer that he would assist her in doing. Boy, this just sounds fishy. Why do people fall for this?
Because they were told to stop hoarding money in their mattresses.
Yeah, true. Victim, a widower who once worked as a court clerk, was sent a QR code and instructed to withdraw $17,760 and transfer it via Bitcoin, which she did. Oh, God, that's a horrible idea.
Don't trust them. The federal government will not call you. They will send you snail mail or show up unannounced at 3 to 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay.
Yeah.
They will not call you. All right.
And they won't ask for anything via Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least yet. Yeah.
Yeah. The fraud quickly escalated. The victim was directed to withdraw $46,000 in cash, which was subsequently picked up at her modest residence by a man who gave her a secret code word. God, this just gets worse. Earlier this month, the woman handed over an additional $50,000 to the courier. After the woman had been bilked out of $113,000, cops were informed of the scam. An arrest affidavit does not indicate who contacted law enforcement. Scammers prey on victims, usually the elderly, who can end up fearful, disoriented, and not thinking rationally, even in the face of what appears to be a ludicrous claim being advanced by a stranger on the phone. When the fraudster arranged another $50,000 pickup, a surveillance team was positioned near the victim's home on Thursday afternoon. Investigators spotted the driver of a Kia SUV, which all good government employees drive, dropping off a man near the septuagenarian's residence. The mule carried a backpack and walked back and forth past the woman's home, all while on the phone and looking around. The courier then made contact with the woman and gave the secret code. An undercover detective handed over a box with a supposed $50,000. Police quickly detained the mule, identified as Wei Sheng He, 34 years old. Other officers arrested the Kia driver, who was in a nearby parking lot out of sight while the transaction was conducted. The driver, cops say, was 56-year-old Jean Sun. He and Sun were both charged with scheming to defraud in excess of $50,000, a first-degree felony, carrying a maximum of a 30-year prison sentence. Sun refused to speak with police, while he claimed to have been instructed by a friend from California on the details of the pickup and did not know the driver he was with. Sure. That's how it goes down.
Yeah. No, that's absurd. And what's interesting, I'm listening to their surnames. They don't sound Indian by their names. They sounded more Chinese.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if there's a way bigger international scheme going on.
I bet.
That's interesting.
Yeah. According to court records, he and Sun, both of whom were born in China, ding, 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 ding,
There it is.
6 miles apart in suburban Los Angeles. The defendants are each locked up on $150,000 bond. A U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detainer has also been lodged against Sun. A judge has ordered the pair to have no further contact with the fraud victim. The identity of the male with an Indian accent is unknown, though he likely was orchestrating the scam from overseas.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
Huh.
I'm in the wrong business, Tim. I'm telling you, I think maybe what I need to do, because I know that, like everybody else, eventually I will allegedly grow old, right? Mm-hmm. So since I said the word, I'll put the glasses in.
Yep, there you
allegedly
go.
I'll grow old.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get stupid, and I'll probably fall for some kind of crap too, right? Mm-hmm. Because, you know, Bitcoin is a relatively new concept that most of us firing on all pistons understand that that's not going to be a way that the federal government's going to work.
Right.
But by the time I'm 70, that's going to be a dinosaur technology, and it's going to be something else, some convoluted thing that I don't understand. So I have a lot of sympathy for those, you know, elderly victims in this case.
Yeah.
They don't understand because it's a world left behind. Right.
Right.
So what I will do is probably just develop a trust, put all of my money in that trust, and only give myself the ability to pull out enough money for salary and strip clubs. And that'll be it.
There you go. There you go. Well, Travis, it's time now for a not safe for work part of our program. If you're at work right now, put in your earbuds because you don't want your fellow employees to hear this. You don't want your boss to hear it as well. If you're at home and you had the kids around, I don't know why you've had kids around for this long, but put them away. I don't know, in the kitchen cupboards or whatever you do with them. At this point, you don't want the kiddies to be hearing this. We'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. The first story is, of course, out of Florida, where a Florida doctor is not wearing hearing aids, and it's probably not a good thing because he is a butt doctor and couldn't hear his colonoscopy patient screaming. That at least is the complaint, Travis.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's get down to this story. According to the Florida Board of Medicine, Dr. Ishwari Prasad couldn't hear the patients yelling in pain because he wasn't wearing his hearing aids. He's not allowed to perform colonoscopies for now. I bet you his Yelp rating is in the toilet, so to speak. You know what I mean there? A Florida doctor is facing disciplinary action after state officials say his failure to wear hearing aids during a colonoscopy left a patient screaming in pain. According to a Florida Department of Health administrative complaint reviewed by USA Today, gastroenterologist Dr. Ishwari Prasad was placed on probation by the state's Board of Medicine after 2 colonoscopy procedures went wrong under his care. That's too many.
Yeah. I mean, you do one and it's kind of crappy. You do the other and it's a pretty shitty job.
Yeah. You're elbows deep, my friend. That's for sure. In one instance, at the Tampa Ambulatory Surgery Center in June of 2023, Prasad improperly delegated tasks to a surgical tech. The complaint reads, the tech did not have a medical license, but was instructed by Prasad to perform at least one inappropriate task from a list that included scope insertion, scope manipulation, manipulating an instrument over polyps or tissue, or removing polyps or tissue.
Was this an internship?
I guess, right? It's like, hey, janitor, come over here for a second. I got to finish my sandwich. Would you come over here and grab the scope and run it over the polyps here for a second?
I ran out of salary. My hands are getting shaky.
Prasad is hearing impaired and uses hearing aids in compliance with what the complaint calls the minimum prevailing professional standard of care to allow him to hear and communicate during procedures. However, Prasad was not wearing the hearing aids for at least one, if not both of the procedures detailed in the complaint, rendering the surgical team unable to effectively communicate with him, according to the complaint. Prasad did not immediately return USA Today's request for comment on Friday. Boy, does that open up a whole new can of worms.
I wonder though, because I mean, like, you get a lot of chatty Cathys, you know, that come into doctors' offices too. And like, do you think, like, I mean, he's old enough that he's using, you know, hearing assistance as well, you know, and I mean, I'm supposed to probably by the VA as well, but like, maybe he's just like, this MFer, shut up while I'm digging around in his butthole. Like, I don't care about your Shih Tzu. Or, you know, like he's wrist deep in his guy's rectum and he's staring, you know, like he's spelunking in these things, you know, and this guy's just like, yeah, and Jack over in finance, like, my wife, tater tot hot dish, and she wants to go see a marriage counselor, and we've only been dating for a year, and, you know, and I'm sure the doctor's is like, shut the F up. And
I'm taking these out.
Yeah. And he's just like every 5 seconds going, yeah, okay, yep, did you feel that?
Instead of feeling a little prick, you are a little prick. Just saying. The second colonoscopy, by the way, performed under Prasad that day was on a patient who was not yet fully sedated, the complaint says. During the procedure, Prasad began inserting the scope prematurely, causing the patient to begin yelling. I don't think you heard it because of the hearing aids. Prasad did not immediately stop the procedure. Then it became apparent that the patient was not fully sedated, and he failed to realize it because he could not hear the yells, says the complaint. Tasks were also inappropriately delegated to a non-licensed tech during the procedure. The Miami Herald reported that an emergency restriction order from September provided more details on the second procedure, saying the sedation issue originally arose due to a problem with the patient's IV line.
Wild.
Yeah. According to the Herald, the order said Prasad continued to insert the scope despite being told to wait and begin to thrust the scope into the patient's rectum while the patient shouted in pain.
Giving me flashbacks on why my wife doesn't like me anymore.
You think it was very Jerry Lewis like hello, yay. It was
Well,
one of those.
like, what good is a safe word if you ain't gonna listen anyway? I mean, like, is he at least giving out anniversary cards when they come back in for a follow-up?
Feel free to rate me. No, not rate.
Was his name Dr. Cosby? What was it?
No, Prasad.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, that's right. The guy wasn't fully under.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Did he at least buy him dinner first? The patient began to yell and shouted that he was in pain and could still feel everything. And Dr. Prasad said, well, it's not a party if you're not feeling everything. The order said, according to the Herald, Dr. Prasad continued to move the scope while the patient continued to scream. And Dr. Prasad said, hey, it ain't fun for me if you're not screaming. The outlet also reported that a hospital administrator had to be present in the room and told Prasad he needed to wait, to which the gastroenterologist leaned over the patient and shouted, I know, to the administrator, yet continued to manipulate the scope. Oh, that bastard. So now Prasad has been placed on probation.
How just on probation? I mean, I don't understand that. Like, you're way outside of the lines here, Doc.
Yeah.
Way outside of the lines.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Ugh. I don't know.
Prasad, who's been licensed to practice in Florida since 1990, has been placed on probation as a result of the complaints. He's also been fined $7,500 and must pay an additional $6,301 in case costs. He is required to take a 5-hour course on continuing medical education in laws, rules, and ethics for the deadline of August 7th, 2025. Prasad's
5-hour course.
5-hour course. His probation means he will not be able to perform any procedures on his own until he's either evaluated for competency by one of the multiple designated programs or performs 10 gastroenterology procedures under the supervision of a physician, who will then make a recommendation to the probation committee.
I guarantee you he ends up working at a VA.
Probably.
We used to joke all the time. What do you call a medical doctor that graduates all A's, top of his class? Doctor. What do you call a doctor that barely makes it by the skin of his teeth? A VA doctor. No offense to any of the care providers for me.
Yeah, no, they're perfect. They graduated top of their class. Or top of the ass, in this case. So, just saying. Oh, yikes.
What are we going to do with you, Tim?
I don't know. This next story, Travis, tells you why I left Iowa.
Okay, I'm all ears.
No offense to Iowans. I love you all.
I don't.
Oh. Well, that's because you're not in danger of going back. Yeah. A 74-year-old father was shot by a man over a stinky feet jibe.
A stinky feet what?
Jibe.
Is that an Iowa thing? What is that?
Let me explain. An Iowa man says he accidentally shot his father over his stinky feet.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. His stinky feet.
Yep.
I mean, this is almost like, you know, I don't know, a little kid messing with somebody's lawn, right? Like this is silly. Where are we, America?
I don't know.
Like, what is going on? So, like, how bad was that feat, though? I mean, like, there's been some pretty nasty feet I've smelt in the army.
Yeah.
You know, like it was like feet, nuts, and ass all together, right? We called it finesse.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Right. We had access to firearms.
We had a kid like that in college.
Oh,
Really bad.
did you beat him, Tim?
No. We just told him to wash. Took him to the shower. That's all we did.
Allegedly, we once had a guy that refused to bathe, and allegedly 12 of us drug him into a shower, and allegedly took a push broom and some Simple Green. Allegedly. All right, sorry, I'm gonna stop talking over this story.
Not a problem. We go to Iowa, where after being told by his 74-year-old father that he had stinky feet, an Iowa man retrieved a firearm from his bedroom and shot the elderly man in the face as he was seated in a motorized scooter. Allegedly. That's my lawyer glasses. See, I have them permanently on, though. Responding to shots fired report Sunday evening, cops encountered 48-year-old David Carpenter. Look at this kid. I shouldn't say kid, but there he is.
Oh, I bet he'd plow your driveway.
Jesus. He kind of looks like he doesn't have a sense of humor.
He looks like he's got stinky feet too.
He does, doesn't he? He looks like he probably needs some medicated powder on his feet. 48-year-old David Carpenter was at the residence he shares with the victim in Burlington, Iowa. Ever been through Burlington?
Probably. I've been through Iowa a billion times. And it like every time I'd go back to Fort Riley, Kansas through Minnesota, I would try to name 8 good things about Iowa because I would tell myself that if I could do that, then the 4-hour trip through it would only be about 2. Yeah. The problem is I always got stuck at about 5. And then I'm like, that's a really nice blade of grass.
I've been to Burlington. That's all I can say. I've been to Burlington.
Did they have a lot of good smelling feet in Burlington?
I don't know. I tried to get through it as fast as I could. The 6-foot, 300-pound David had called 911 and stated that he had just shot his father, William Carpenter, in the face. Not a great way to introduce yourself to 911. William, who survived the gunfire, told officers that he and his son were in an argument over David's stinky feet, a dispute which escalated to David grabbing his gun from his bedroom and shooting William in the face. Questioned by police, David said he and his father were in the living room when William told him that his feet stink. During a subsequent heated argument, David claimed his father made a comment about shooting him. David said that he had got his gun and pointed it at his father's face. He claimed that he then accidentally pulled the trigger. At the time of the shooting, 2 children were in the living room watching TV. Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah. David was arrested for attempted murder and child endangerment, locked up in the county jail. He's scheduled for an August 21st preliminary hearing and has been ordered by a judge to have no contact with the victim.
May he rest in piss.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We got, I think, just a couple more stories here, and then we are done for the day. As a matter of fact, we do. We have 2 more stories here. I am going to show you this picture here, so you on video will get the punchline before we get to the actual story. Okay?
Oh, this is going to be good.
All right. So, sometimes a t-shirt means everything, Travis. A man of 22 was busted for a DUI and makes a strong anti-bullying statement while doing so. 22-year-old Floridian was arrested this past week for driving under the influence in a shirt that made a statement. to police. Cooper Conti is his name. Conti was booked into jail at around 5:30 a.m. on a misdemeanor count for which bond would be set at $1,000. He's scheduled to be arraigned right in that afternoon. After posing for a mugshot, Conti would have been directed to change into a boring orange prison smock, thus denying fellow inmates a glimpse of his unique fashion sense. What did his t-shirt say? Well, his t-shirt said, "Don't bully me, I'll come." I doubt the officers taking care of him poked and prodded him.
I was at the Steele County Free Fair on Saturday. I took the family out there, and there was a guy walking around with a t-shirt that I thought took the cake until I seen this. And his t-shirt just said, "I sleep with my son's teacher. He's homeschooled." and that was pretty clever and pretty awesome. That's what takes the cake. I might have to start looking on Etsy or something.
All right. Our final story today is one of mistaken identity. But boy, when you really screw up, you screw up. This one is a screw up. This traveler revealed that she was banned for life by American Airlines for something she didn't do. And she says, "I am literally a lesbian." Are you ready for this, Trav?
I feel like I need the allegedly glasses.
Here you go. Go ahead and put on those lawyer glasses, my friend. High mile criminals. Ready for this? Aaron Wright, who goes by @Aaron Wright on TikTok, revealed how American Airlines allegedly banned her from flying with the airline for life. She says, "I got permanently banned from flying American Airlines for having sexual relations with a man on a plane, even though I'm a lesbian," the 24-year-old Wright wrote online. Right?
Nice.
In the 4-minute and 47-second clip uploaded on August 8th with over 2.6 million views, Wright explained how she was banned from boarding her flight to New Orleans for her sister's bachelorette party. The gate agent looks nervous, and she's like, "Ma'am, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but you've actually been banned from flying American Airlines," Wright continued. I was like, "What? I've never done anything." As much as Wright begged the gate agent to explain the reasoning for her banishment, the agent resisted. "I'm really sorry, but it's an issue with internal security. I can't tell you, but the person on the phone told me that you should know why," she added. Wright became confused, frustrated, and overwhelmed by this unusual scenario, but remained determined to make it to her sister's celebration. She had to cough up $1,000 for a new flight while waiting for a $400 refund from her previous flight. "I realized that I'm going to miss my flight, and I just need to book another flight. So I quickly booked myself another $1,000 round trip day of to New Orleans," Wright said. "I'm going to get this cleared up, and they'll refund my money." After 12 days of waiting and no refund, Wright was notified she was banned from the airline due to alleged sexual activities with a man inside the aircraft bathroom. "I'm a 24-year-old lesbian. You see me. Am I having sexual relations with any man? No," she scoffed. Wright tried to think of the best way she could to prove she wasn't the frisky passenger that American Airlines alleged her to be by emailing customer relations. "I emailed them a very serious email, but also somewhat funny, because in it, I am like, I don't really know how to prove it wasn't me, except for the fact that I am literally a lesbian," Wright said. Luckily, Wright's mother was able to vouch for her daughter through an email, which helped speed up her removal from the no-fly list. While Wright's name was cleared, the real Mile High Clubbers weren't revealed. So now I'm off the American Airlines permanent no-fly list, also out $1,000, but they did refund me the $400 flight. So she had to pay $1,000 to fly same day. They didn't refund her that, but they gave her the original $400 that she had to put up for her flight.
That's insane. And, you know, and this is a good opportunity for another allegedly. American Airlines, you got the wrong lesbian. That's me.
Yeah.
That's nuts,
isn't it? Although Wright is elated to fly without restrictions, she did anticipate American Airlines would give her more money for the mishap since it was forced on her to purchase another flight. The New York Post contacted American Airlines for comment. "Thanks for being the worst," Wright captioned the clip. Many people were shocked by Wright's turbulent situation. "Everything else aside, how did they let you book if they banned you?" questioned a watcher, which is a good question. Yeah. If she was banned, how did she even book with the airline? Wright responded this, revealing she has no clue how the flight booking went through, even if she was banned. Another person suggested file a complaint with the Department of Transportation. They are legally required to not only refund you, but to provide you with an answer. "Can you take American Airlines to small claims court? Did you buy the second flight on a credit card that provides travel insurance?" asked a TikToker. Despite the confusion, Wright updated her followers on the recent flight status change. "When they called to tell me they were taking me off the no-fly list, they said, 'I hope this wasn't too much of an inconvenience.' 'Oh, you mean the last 3 months of communication, missing my flight, getting my lawyer involved, and having to email 3 directors at American Airlines to get customer relations to respond to me?" But in a follow-up video posted on August 11th, Wright revealed how she was able to recover the money she lost by the views her TikTok clip garnered. I made pretty the exact amount that I lost, so American Airlines doesn't even have to make this right," she said. Wright claims American Airlines has yet to contact her since the previous update on August 11th, but has plans to take action against them. "I'm just really grateful for all your help and for blowing that video up because it took a lot of stress off of me financially," the content creator praised. So I think she made it back through ads.
Yeah. Well, and just the overall support of the TikTok community.
Yeah.
You know, this is the power that an audience can garner. You people have the power.
There you go. So interesting how mistaken identity can harm and help a person.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, I've never gotten kicked off of a plane or barred from going on a plane, and I'm always like Mr. Thrifty about it. And so like if I had a $400 ticket, I'd already be pretty upset that I paid that. And then if I was like, "Oh no, I got to pay $1,000 and go right now, and I don't even know if I'm going to get that money," I mean, I might drive a Kia through a strip club over that.
Right.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, right. Yeah. I don't know what I'd do. If they made me fly another airline, I probably wouldn't end up going. Yeah. That would break the bank. So
yeah. Should we all boo American Airlines for that?
Boo.
Boo.
Yeah, that's just horrible. That's horrible customer service is what it is.
Fly Delta.
There you go. Fly Delta. Or Sun Country. Or local airline. Yeah. So that'll do it for today for True Crime Tuesday, of course, ripped from the headlines, and Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. Tomorrow on the program, shall we do some supernatural news for tomorrow?
Sure.
All right. We'll do some supernatural news for Wednesday. Thursday, we've got Bryce Johnson on the program from Expedition Bigfoot.
Oh.
Yeah. We're smacking a few around the field this week. So we got some big programs in store here in the next few weeks here on the big program. So
we're gonna have to eat a lot of celery.
I know. Yeah, it's a lot of celery. Got to keep the energy up. That's for sure. So that'll do it for the big program today. Travis, tell people once again where people can find the big program.
Look for the show called the American Council for Truth in Journalism on X, Facebook, OpsLens, and Rumble. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff and jive to the most, crazy crew of political talk voices out there. We're probably the most irreverent show out there. So we are very not safe for work. And I hope you join us and watch us.
There you go. All right. So for Travis Thorpe, I'm Tim Dennis. Join us tomorrow for Supernatural News. In the meantime, thank you for joining us for True Crime Tuesday.
For more audio and video archives of True Crime Tuesday, visit darknessradioshow.com. Thanks for watching.